Greetings, fellow barbarians. It is I, Alan Odinson, and this is the Barbarian Lounge podcast. I want to thank everybody for hanging with me today. Just in case you haven't been keeping up, I've been on my Instagram lately. I've been keeping the story updated, and that opening right there was done live on Instagram. So under my stories, might not be able to see it by the time you see this episode. But if you're not following Alan Odinson on Instagram, I urge you to do so. I'm spending a little more time there recently because we've been getting a lot of traffic there. So check me out there as well. So what's going on, my fellow barbarians? We are here. We are live. Well, at least I'm live right now. You guys might not be live, but we got a good show lined up for you today, man. I have had quite the interesting week so far. Let me just tell you, 2018's just been interesting. So, man, I got some stories to tell you today. I got some commentary on things, and oh man, we got some stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get that housekeeping out of the way to start with. First off, our website is thebarbarianlounge.com. Go there and check it out. Got a lot of stuff updated on there. Got some new articles there. Also, while you're there, I urge you to check out that shop button or our store, whichever way it's listed. I don't quite remember off the top of my head. But check it out there. And pick yourself up one of our Barbarian Lounge exclusive Thuggy strangulation cords. Yes, they're only available here at the Barbarian Lounge because I am the one who makes them. Yes, they are all handcrafted by yours truly. If you have listened to our episode called Thug Life about the Thuggy strangulation cult, you'll understand the significance in the design that I crafted there. You can pick up, you have two different options you can choose from, the Tiger version as well as the Kali Ma version. And pick one up, man. It's a good low-key piece of EDC gear that can be used for a variety of different things. It's funny, when I developed it as a self-defense tool, right? Basically a way of choking a motherfucker. And I've had all these people send me messages, or I've seen reviews done on it where they're using it for a lot of different things. I had a guy who said that his dog had broke the leash that he had him on, and he used his cord to actually make a makeshift collar / leash to get the dog. I've heard of guys. Guys like to carry their when they like to make all of their grocery runs from the vehicle to the house. They like to do it all at once. And I've had stories of guys taking the Thuggy cord and basically looping all of the bags on there, throwing it over their shoulder to bring it to the house. So it's not just for self-defense stuff, even though that was how it was designed. Because here at the Barbarian Lounge, we're all about making strangulation great again. There's no better way to do that than to pick up one of our Thuggy strangulation cords and support the broadcast. Another option that you have to support the broadcast is by clicking on that donate button. By clicking on that donate button, you will have two options, one of which is a one-time PayPal donation, which is exactly as advertised. There isn't a whole lot of explanation needed there. You make a one-time donation via PayPal. The other option is to click on that Patreon link. That is our member site. By clicking on that Patreon link, you'll be redirected to that page to which you can sign up on a donation on a per episode basis. Not only will you be supporting the show, but you'll be getting many perks and benefits to go along with it. One of those is you get our 4 regular shows early, way ahead of everybody else, sometimes a few days, sometimes it's a week or so. But you get them as soon as the show is finished, bam, it is up on the member site instantaneously. So no waiting period here, okay? You also have access to our full archives dating all the way back to episode 1. So right now we're approaching, I believe this is episode 97. I think we're on 97 right now. So we are fastly approaching episode 100, which I am trying to get everything in motion to make that a massive epic episode. But sometimes these things don't work out like I want. But my plan is to have episode 100 be huge. So you have full access to all of those. But you also gain, yes, there's more, believe it or not, you also receive 4 additional shows each month, exclusive only to members. So not only do you have the archives for our regular shows, but we're up to, I believe, 61 or 62 of our members-only broadcast. So you guys are missing half the show right now. We're already well over 100 episodes if you count our members-only shows. So there's a lot of benefits to go there and support the broadcast and become a patron member. The time has come to get a little bit of skin in the game, folks. We cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. Everybody thinks, and I've been guilty of this in the past, everybody thinks you can just kind of, ride the bench on the sidelines and everything will be okay. But let me tell you something. The people that are out there fighting, they need your support. You don't have to be a voice. You don't have to get up and do podcasts. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. But you need to throw your support. Support your fellow podcaster. We're the voices out here that are crying in the distance. We're the voices that are standing against the rising of the tide that is the communist left. So it is up to us to get out there and help each other out. I mean, no military can continue fighting if they don't have support from the home base. You guys are our home base, so get out there, toss us some support, become a member, receive some perks and benefits, and you're helping the show at the same time. Another option to help support the broadcast is by supporting our sponsors. Through these sponsors, they enable us to keep this show running as well. First off, our first sponsor is Odinson Archery. Traditional bows made from non-traditional materials. Go there and check it out. There's a lot of stuff there on Odinson Archery right now. We're working on the 2018 line that will be debuting at Blade Show this year, so that's always a pretty hot topic. We also got some pretty cool things coming in the future as well there at Odinson Archery. But you don't have to break the bank to get into the world of archery. Everybody thinks that you have to go and spend a shit ton of money, but that's not the case, guys. Odinson Archery is defying that rule that has been pushed forward by the big companies that are just wanting to make money. They don't have a true passion for archery like we do here at Odinson Archery. So go there, check it out, OdinsonArchery.com. Our other sponsor, this is a sponsor we debuted last week, and I'm glad to have them on board because here at the Barbarian Lounge, we are absolutely big on self-development. We're big on becoming a better you than you were yesterday. Our goal is always movement. Our goal is always in the climb. And whenever we can get somebody on board that supports that same mission, we are absolutely down with that. So if you're looking for some in-person or online training for some personal training, because let me read you off some of the things we're offering here. Personal training, cardio training, weight training, youth fitness, small group training, conditioning for combat sports, nutrition counseling. I mean, damn, guys. You can check out the PTAF's Fitness with Aaron P. Cable. And as always, I will have the flyer on the show notes when this episode drops, which contains the email address, the Facebook link, because I don't want people to have to burn too many mental calories to go searching everything. I'm gonna make it nice, quick, and easy for you. But I'm telling you, man, those things that are offered there, especially with the youth fitness, man, the kids right now, there's a massive obesity epidemic here in the United States, and it is very, very important for us to keep our children moving because they are the future. But even if you're just somebody that's looking to drop some pounds, maybe get in shape for some combative sports, maybe you're thinking about dipping your toes into the world of combatives, you're gonna have to get in shape, man. The fastest car in the world does no good if it has no gas in it. So check out Aaron Cable, and as I said, I will post the link on the show notes page. So when you find the page here for this episode, you will see that link there. So check them out, Aaron P. Cable. All right, I think that's about it. Also, obviously, I don't want to forget our network as well with UCY.TV. A lot of good shows over at UCY.TV. Shout out from the Barbarian Lounge to our people over there at UCY.TV. If you're on the live chat as this show is airing right now, wherever you're at, I want you to take a big drink of that nice beverage that you have in front of you. For me, it's rum today, so take a big sip with me here. That's right. Hail to our people at UCY.TV. Alrighty. Well, as I said earlier about the whole Instagram thing, guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, you might want to check me out because, I'm staying pretty active on there lately because we picked up a good bit of followers there. recently because I actually got a bit of an endorsement from somebody on there, so it enabled me to start to pick up a few more followers, because that's kind of the way this thing goes a lot of times. You know, it's tough to pick people up sometimes, and you know, I'm pretty happy that we got more people following us on Instagram. I try and stay pretty active on there. If you want to follow me on there, it's Alan, ALAN _Odinson, ODINSON. You'll see the Odinson Archery logo, and that will be me. Click on there. You can check out my story every day. You can follow me around, see what the hell I do every day, and see what sort of shenanigans and trouble I get into. I'm just kind of discovering that whole story thing. So I am an absolute fumbling gorilla caveman type creature when it comes to handling electronics and all this social media and shit. So you know, I'm learning on the fly. People tell me about these new things, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And come to find out, everybody's been using it for like 3 years. So, you know. Alrighty, well let's get into the meat and potatoes of things. Now, I had a few different things I wanted to talk about today that I thought would be interesting. A few things that's happening to me, and a few things that's happening in the world today. You know, I didn't come in here with a huge like plan or anything like that. I kind of have a general guideline of what I'm going to talk about, but I want to talk really briefly here about an interesting thing that happened to me. And just the level that some people will go to for I guess I don't know if you want to call it to get the last word or the acceptance or whatever. You guys have heard me talk about with this show and everything that we get a good bit of issues sometimes with trolls, and we get issues with people trying to attack us. I mean, last year they hacked us twice and brought down our archives at one point, but we're still here and kicking, so good luck next time, motherfuckers. But you know, and I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for the support of the members, I don't know if I'd have been able to get it back up. So that's why it's also important to be a member on our Patreon site. But you know, I had an issue with an individual that when I was, you know, when I'm running my businesses and stuff, I strive in everything to make sure I keep customer service very good. That's always been a big thing to me. That customer service a lot of times outweighs many things. You know, I put that at the top of the list. And it's funny, you know, I had an individual that I was dealing with, and I was trying to, you know, conversate with them, and sometimes you just run into those people that are just, they're just there to cause trouble. Matter of fact, when I first started dealing with them, I told my wife straight off the bat, I said, this person's going to be trouble. And and I have a good bit of tolerance for that, for the most part. Surprisingly, I'm not just someone that amazingly flies off the handle and just starts yelling at people, believe it or not. But this individual got to the point where I had to do something that I quite honestly don't do a lot of, and that was block them. And so, you know, I blocked them, and, you know, I'm like, all right, that's that. I'm done with this individual. And I'm laughing because this just happened today, guys, and it blew my mind. Now, a lot of you people out there, I hear a lot of people that do podcasting shows, and they do this and they do that, and, you know, and they deal with internet trolls, and they'll say, oh, I had to block this guy today, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I challenge you, oh people who think they've had internet trolls, to beat this story. So, I go to my mailbox today. And open it up, and I find a letter addressed to me from this individual. And I open it up, and there are 3 pages, count it, 3 full-length pages written in all cap. Actually, it started in lowercase, and then it made it about halfway down the first page and transitioned to all caps throughout the rest of the way through it, from this individual yelling at me because I blocked them on Facebook. That's right. That is what I call, if there are internet trolls, if Internet Trolls was a video game, this particular individual would be the final guy that you fight at the end, right? He's the final boss that you go up against. Because not only did this person, it's not like this person was like across town or something either. They live on the other side of the country, and they spent, I think it was like 75 cents to send me this letter. but so they could get the last word in, I guess. Absolutely and utterly blew my mind. I've never experienced anything like that before. Now, I've had some issues with trolls. Let me tell you. I'll tell you some of my troll stories. Everybody tells me there's troll stories, and I think it's always funny because I think to myself, like, what, a guy talks some shit to you and you had to block him? Oh, that's not trolling, my friends. Until they start, I hear shows talk about how they're controversial and everything, and yet they've never been hacked or attacked, and I'm like, who the fuck are you guys, right? I mean, until your show's been hacked and brought down twice, and you've had people write you 3-page letters, sending them in the mail, just to tell you that you suck, or you've had people call you. Yes, that's another one I have. I had an internet troll call me. This was when I still had my number listed. They called my business phone. And left me a message at, I think it was like 3 a.m. at night. At 3 a.m. at night, basically they were challenging me to a match at 3 a.m. at night, and left no callback number, left no name, no nothing, even though I knew who it was. This is true story, guys. This is a 100% true story. So until you've had your internet trolls calling, because they called at 3 a.m. because they were expecting me to answer, right? Probably if I'd have answered, they'd have pissed their pants and hung up the phone. And they probably would have gotten in trouble because their mother would have been like, Bobby, what are you doing on the phone this late at night? You're supposed to be in bed. You got school tomorrow. That would probably be the reality of the situation. But, calling me at 3 a.m., knowing I'm not going to pick up the phone, knowing I'm not even there, sending me 3-page letters in the fucking snail mail because they can't figure out how to operate the internet, I guess. It's just absolutely mind blowing. And we're starting to see this. Me and my friend, the guy I've had on the show before, Brandon Turbyville. Me and Brandon, we talk a good bit. We're good buddies, and we talk a good bit. We probably talk every day. And he was telling me how people are. It just seems like people are just getting a little bit more and more psychotic as the days go on. And there's this notion now that everybody, since they have a voice on the internet, that they can basically just walk into the room and they know exactly what they're talking about, because they have an opinion and they can type it and they're far away. There's no repercussions for that which they do. And it's funny how we're starting to see more and more. I think that this byproduct, this is all just a byproduct of everybody having a voice with the internet. And, obviously we want to keep a free internet, and we don't want to have, names and all these things attached to it. But you have to ask yourself, like, a lot of times, and this is something that I've struggled with when I talk to people about notions of freedom. A lot of times freedom is thrust upon people, and to be perfectly honest with you, they don't necessarily have the ability to rationally organize that freedom around their own lives. Meaning, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like the old adage I say when it comes to Morpheus and Neo in the Matrix, right? If you haven't seen the Matrix, Jesus Christ, get a life, man. In the Matrix, Morpheus walks up to Neo and he's got him in the room, and he's like, if you take the blue pill, you'll wake up, everything will be great, and you won't remember anything. If you take the red pill, I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And it's like, you'd have to be a pretty fucking idiot to not take the red pill, right? Because, I'm just going to forget that I just saw this amazing shit. Of course I want to know more. So, obviously, Neo chooses freedom there, right? Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't choose freedom? But you see, Morpheus was very, very deceptive when he did this, because he did not tell Neo exactly the responsibility that was going to come with all this freedom. Neo just thought he was going to learn shit, right? As a matter of fact, I saw somebody post a picture of a mug that said, from Game of Thrones, said, I drink and know things. So, I'm going to drink here. And, I know some things about, Matrix. So, he didn't tell anybody. He didn't tell Neo. He's like, you just want to know some things? And it's like, yeah, sure, man. Who says, no, it's okay. I'm good. No. He wanted to know. So he took the red pill, and then the next thing is like, okay, here's the red pill. Oh, by the way, this is what's really going on. Oh, yeah, there's a war going on, and oh, yeah, we're going to need you to fight it, and you need to do all this other shit, too. If Neo would have known that ahead of time, I guarantee you he'd have been like, fuck this, I'm taking the blue pill. I ain't got time for all this stuff, you know. But, you know, I think to myself a lot of times, as it relates to freedom, for a lot of people, they have a certain freedom thrust upon them. And we expect that, okay, well, you're free now, make the right choices. But the problem is that a lot of people don't know how to make the right choices. Or they let this freedom, this newfound freedom, or whatever freedom they have here, they let it go to their head. And then they start doing irrational shit in the names of freedom. You know, you have the freedom to eat a Tide Pod. And you think to yourself, you shouldn't have to tell people, you know, you really shouldn't eat that Tide Pod, kid. Because if you eat that Tide Pod, you could die from it. You really shouldn't have to tell them that, you know, because it's laundry detergent and everything. You really shouldn't have to explain that to them. But apparently you do. Because they have the freedom, if they want to just consume that Tide Pod all day long, and just they can just put Tide in their fucking cereal and eat Tide Pods like fucking cupcakes. And, you know, we see the same thing happen with the internet. Everybody on the internet pretty much, you know, well, we're starting to see that dial back a little bit, but everybody kind of has the freedom to say whatever fucking garbage they want to the point now where you can't even hardly trust the internet anymore. I mean, shit, I see something and I'm like, yeah, that seems pretty legit, and fake news, right? Or there's so much of a jumble of fake news and real news, you just self-destruct and go, I don't even care anymore, right? But slowly but surely we see people starting to almost self-destruct on a mental aspect, because they don't quite understand the repercussions for their actions. They've been given so much freedom that a lot of these people, they're just not bright enough to do it. We've seen this happen in I'll give a prime example. Controversial as shit, but hey, call it what you want. When you look at places like Haiti, for instance. In Haiti, before, and even in the Bahamas, but, before they had their quote-unquote revolution, Haiti was a very rich area there. Very rich. See the same thing with the Bahamas, too. They were rich areas. They were controlled primarily by Europeans who, yes, they did have slaves there, people that were working with them. But those slaves were fed. Those slaves, they had a roof over their head. Many of them were educated a lot of times. So, you know, and the economy was growing. It was a very, very rich area. There were massive plantation homes, and, you know, people weren't living in squalor. Well, as soon as these people liberated themselves, you'd say, well, you know, they've had, what? That was in, what was the Haitian Revolution? I want to say it was in the late 1800s, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But either way, when they liberated themselves, what has happened to Haiti since then? These people had all this freedom, and then they're like, oh shit, we don't know what to do now. I mean, okay, we're free, so, let's farm. Do you know how to farm? Yeah, I kind of know how to farm. Do you know how to sell it? Not really. Do you have any good contacts? No. What about shipping? Does anybody here know how to run a ship? No. So, you know, we've seen now these countries that turn into these shitholes, and they can't get themselves out because they've got all this freedom and they don't know what the fuck to do with it anymore. It's the same way, when I was looking at the stuff that's going on, I've been keeping track of the stuff that's been going on in South Africa lately. And, you know, I look back to the things that happened in former Rhodesia when that place, got switched over to the Zimbabwe area. And, you know, you see, once they basically liberated it and turned it into Zimbabwe, you know, and they took all the farms of the white people that were there. They took all their farms. They're like, we are free. We have your land. Get out. We are now free. Well, then they go, oh shit, anybody know how to farm? No? You don't know how to farm? What about you? Oh shit, you know how to farm? Okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And their economy crashed, and before you know it, they're going, hey, white farmers, can you guys come back here? Cause we don't really know how to run this farm here. So, a lot of times whenever people start talking about freedom and unconditional freedom, I always think to myself, if you think about it from a logical standpoint, we all want freedom. Nobody wants to be enslaved. Nobody wants to be enchained. But you also have to have a level of responsibility that comes with that freedom. And I think a lot of people just aren't grasping that notion anymore. And it translates into this crazy shit on the internet where, you can block a fucking troll and they call you at 3 a.m. or they send you a fucking 3-page letter or they say, I'm going to fix you. How dare you block my messages? I'm going to try and ruin your business. It's like, what the hell's going on with people? Like, it's the internet, folks. It's the internet. It only has a certain level of reality to it. But people aren't grasping that anymore. It's very, very strange. It's very strange. And we see that translated even more into the bigger stage. That was a perfect segue, by the way. I think I'm the master of segues sometimes, guys. Segue into a new topic. Most people won't tell you they're segueing into new topics, so I'm thinking out loud there. And that translates over very well to the modern era right now. What we're seeing moving towards, people with their... you have people that have an irresponsibility as it relates to the freedom that they have. As it relates to the gun control push right now from the left, namely the walkout that we had. Now, it's important to understand how this thing played out. And I wasn't even aware of this when it happened. But, a lot of these kids, everybody, in the media reports it as massive walkout for gun control, thousands upon thousands of kids, walk out in support of more gun restrictions and yada, yada, yada. And it's funny to me because all these kids, and not all of them, which I'll explain in just a minute, but if you really think about it, these kids were basically marching to have their rights taken away. Right? Because most of the stuff they're pushing for only affects them for the most part, right? So you're gonna say that you want to wait longer to be able to protect yourself. That makes a lot of sense. But we saw this massive walkout and everything, and it was hailed as, oh, this is so great, and look at the progress that's coming. Don't worry, kids, you're gonna get what you want. Yeah, that's true, guys. You're gonna get exactly what's coming to you. Trust me. But this thing was marketed very, very, very deceptively from a lot of the people in power. If you listen to the last episode on Chess versus Go, if you haven't, I urge you to listen to that. I talked a lot about how the education system had been compromised. So we have this situation where this walkout is scheduled, and it wasn't until the morning of it that I started finding out locally first, and then it started spreading, that was basically, it was made all but mandatory for these kids to have to walk out of school. And I was like, what? That doesn't sound right. And it was. They set it up so these kids had to walk out. Whether you want to participate or not is that's up to you, but you have to leave the class and walk outside. You can go sit in the corner, but you have to walk out. Because how a lot of these rules are set up is if there isn't going to be a teacher in class, you have to leave. You have to go out with the teacher, right? You got to go out with the class. You can't just sit in the class. So if the teacher leaves, guess what? By default, you have to go too. That's why we saw this one kid up in Ohio, I think it was, that got suspended because he refused to walk out. And they said, you're breaking policy. You're not supposed to do that. You're out of here, kid. So they can't technically throw him out for not doing the walkout. They throw him out for disobedience, basically, and going against the system. I say, kid, applaud to you. Here from the Barbarian Lounge to you. If you're listening, my son, you are welcome any day within this lounge. We'll slip you a fake ID at the door, and you can slide right in here and have a glass of rum on Odinson here. But we see this thing play out where the leadership, the school board, the teachers, the administrators, all of them are setting this thing up where they're making it virtually mandatory for the kids to have to go out. And then there was even a little more deception because they changed the wording. They were listed as official events for the school, right? It was an official event. But here's the kicker. They didn't say it was for gun control. They told them that it was a march in remembrance of the students slayed at the in the last school shooting in Florida. So who's going to be the asshole that sits inside for that, right? But they tricked them in a lot of cases. Most of those kids, let me tell you something. Kids don't need an excuse. Think about when you were in school. You don't need an excuse to walk out that fucking door. You don't need an excuse. Man, it's like, what, no class? We don't have to listen to your boring ass get up here and tell us about shit we don't really give a damn about? Hell yeah. Which way? What's the cause? I don't even care. Whatever. Open the door, let me out, here we go. I'm going to sit outside, I'm going to hang with my friends, we're going to talk. What, you need me to hold this sign? I don't even know what it says. Here you go. I mean, that's the way the teenage mind's going to think. These are the same people that were eating Tide Pods a few months ago, for God's sake. So we can't expect these kids to be the beacon of what the America's supposed to be, right? But at the same time, there is a lot of parallels there, because a lot of Americans, they aren't down with the issues. They get misled by the media, misled by leadership, so you end up just kind of going along to get along, right? It's the same thing. You know, everybody wanted to make fun of these kids, but I'm looking around, I'm going, guys, this happens to you every day. Every single fucking day. We all fall victim to it. But it's up to us to educate these kids. Show them there's a better way. That's one of the reasons that, you know, I was very happy to take on Aaron Cable as a sponsor here. You know, one of the things that she offers is youth fitness. I mean, when you teach these kids being strong is the way, they will carry that all throughout their lives. It'll give them the self-confidence to understand that they don't have to bend to the will of these people. They don't have to. They can do things for themselves. You know, it's crazy to me, because we've seen all of these different court jesters amongst the entertainment world coming out rearing their ugly head. I'm going to see here. As I said, guys, I don't have anything in front of me. I'm just going to pull it up here online while I'm talking to you. A few of the articles that I posted on the Barbarian Lounge podcast Facebook page. If you're not following me there, what the hell are you waiting on, right? Go there and check it out. I'm always posting stuff up on there. Of course, everything's going to run slow while I'm sitting here trying to fucking shoot a show. But, you know, we saw, what was his name? I almost hate even talking about him, because he's pretty much a nobody anymore. He was popular when I was in high school. Fucking Eminem, right? So you had Eminem, Mr. Marshall Mathers. You know, we had him coming out recently, and he's been railing against the NRA. Oh, they love their guns more than they love their kids. No, let me tell you something, you bleach blonde fucking has-been. Let me tell you what. We love our guns because we love our kids. Okay? I mean, that's the reason. That's the reason we have them. So, you know, this is the same guy. You know, this is the beacon of leftist mentality, right? This guy is the one where they present their champion, right? So we got the two armies on each side, right? Over here on our side, we've got fucking strong ass people like you know, the NRA. We got the NRA groups. We've got even the lady, I don't remember her fucking name, who's one of the heads of the NRA. You got her. I mean, even though I'm man, he's been doing some weird shit. Even Donald Trump, you know, I'm still not all the way off that Trump train yet. But we've got a lot of strong representation on the pro-gun side, right? If I just let's just say, I'll do it this way. We'll say, let's take a pro-gun celebrity. I'm gonna go with fucking Tim Kennedy. That's our champion, alright? Well, I'm gonna take Tim Kennedy as our champion for the Second Amendment on our side. The champion that they march out to face our Tim Kennedy is fucking Eminem. That hypocritical little piece of shit. Then tell me something, Eminem. Are you still on probation for fucking attacking your wife? Tell me something, Eminem. Didn't you do a song? Was it your first album? You know, the whole "Hello, my name is" bullshit. Didn't that have a picture of you standing with your daughter, with your wife's fucking leg hanging out the back of the trunk? And didn't you do songs about how you were going to kill your wife? Right? You remember that? You don't? But what about what's that song? Go to Sleep? What about that one? You remember that one? Go to sleep, bitch. Die, motherfucker, die. Time's up, bitch. Close your eyes. You remember that song, Eminem? So this is the fucking anti-gun champion they want to present to us. It's insane. A guy that can barely function in his whole life up against somebody, a fucking war hero like Tim Kennedy, a guy who strives every single day to become stronger, to become harder to kill, and to educate others and to keep them stronger. Make them harder to kill. Represents this nation. That's our fucking champion, but you're gonna pull out fucking Eminem. Good luck with that. Let me know how that works out in the grand scheme of things, leftists. I really want to know how that's gonna play out for you. Because at the end of the day, these people are absolutely and utterly hypocritical on the issues. Absolute and utterly hypocritical. Let me see here. I want to pull up this article I was looking at earlier. I don't know if Facebook might have just fucking they don't even want my fucking page to load here. It's crazy. Let's see. Okay. So we had the whole thing. We had the whole thing with Eminem. Then we had. Let's see. I was laughing at a meme I posted. So we had the whole thing with Eminem, and we've seen too, like how it's amazing to me also how you have this. They march out these kids, especially this Swine guy, David Swine. Oh, I'm sorry, David Hogg. They march this guy out, and by the way, you can't post a whole lot of things about Hogg on Facebook, or you'll get zucked pretty quick. But, they march this kid out there as if he's the beacon of all high and mighty understanding of what law is. This kid probably hasn't even finished his class on economics. He probably hasn't even finished, because I think he's a senior. Has he finished his class on economics? Has he finished his class on U.S. government? Has he done that? I remember that was a class when I was in school. Maybe they ain't a fucking class anymore. Who knows? But, they march this kid out there and they say, you know what? Look at what these kids are doing. They're calling for more gun control. But yet they don't understand that at the end of the day, they are calling for their own rights to be taken. There's a complete disconnect as well between a lot of these parents, because everybody's calling for school safety. And hell, who doesn't want school safety? I don't have a problem with school safety in the least bit. But for the love of all that is sacred, please come up with something that's actually a viable solution. I watched a video. I don't have this posted on the Barbarian Lounge page, but I need to post it up, because if you listen close to this video, you'll get to hear exactly what a cuck sounds like. And cuck is a word that I can't stand, but every now and then, there's only one descriptive word I can come up with. But sometimes you can't really catch a cuck in the wild, so you have to listen, and every now and then they'll get caught on tape. It's kind of like Bigfoot, right? A lot of people say, I've got evidence Bigfoot exists, and they'll put an audio recording up, and you'll hear or something like that, and you're like, that was a Bigfoot right in the middle of nowhere. Well, you hear the same thing pretty much with a cuck. You'll think everything's fine, and you'll hear just an honest debate going, and somewhere out the back you hear, That's usually kind of similar to what you'll hear with a cuck. It usually has kind of a whining thing. I'm not sure if it's a mating call or not, but you have to listen closely. But I saw this video where this guy was at a PTA meeting, and he was talking about he was wanting armed teachers, and he had this little skinny, I don't know if it was a girl or just a really effeminate looking male. I'm not sure. I'm sorry that I assumed their gender there. But he had this person in front of him, and he's trying to talk to them about, school safety, and they're like, we don't want guns in here. We don't want guns in here. And the guy's like, look. He's like, what about this? And he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a pocket knife. And everybody's like, oh! They completely freak out. And you hear the in the distance, you hear, that's the switchblade, In the distance, it's like, the cuck has risen itself from the bushes. It's risen itself from the bushes, and it is now calling out for the other cucks to stand up with them. And we hear this guy in the back going, that's a switchblade. He just pulled a switchblade on this kid. It wasn't a switchblade. It was like some fucking old-timey pocket knife, It was ridiculous. And the guy was just explaining, like, look, even if you want to ban guns, I can still do a lot of damage with this. And they're like, oh God, put it away. And this guy's like, this is what's funny. And another way to distinguish the cuck from other strange sounds that you may hear, the cuck will also throw out, amongst his whining and his effeminate cries, you will also hear a lot of irrational logic coming from his mouth as well. So we hear this freak out. Oh, that's a switchblade. Then we hear, oh my God, that's illegal. He can't have that in here. It's illegal. And we keep hearing that from the back, and it's like, motherfucker, that's the entire point. It's illegal, but surprise, surprise, it can walk through the fucking door. It can walk through the fucking door. It doesn't matter if it's illegal. Do you magically think that if something is illegal that there's like a force field that prevents it from going in? I flash back to the when I heard this, when I watched this video, it reminded me of an episode of King of the Hill. If you've never watched King of the Hill, you're missing out. Whenever I think about King of the Hill, I think about the first time I met Augustus Invictus. This is when he was running for senator, and one of the first things I said to him was in a Hank Hill impersonation. And I'm thinking, you just met a guy who could be senator, and your claim to fame was you're going to throw out a Hank Hill impersonation. But there's an episode of King of the Hill where he's playing the pimp, and he's running from he's running from an actual pimp. So he's in the car and he's driving away, and they're like, we gotta get away, and the guy's like chasing him in the car, and Hank he says, hold on a second, I got this. And he goes, he sees the light in front of him getting ready, it goes to yellow, and he slows down, and then he speeds through it real quick as it turns to red as the guy's behind him. And Hank Hill's like, and then you look, and the guy speeds right through the red light, and he goes, what? He can't do that? That's a red light. No fucking shit. That's the way these guys are, right? So Hank Hill was so naive to believe that he could speed through a red light and or speed through a yellow light, and once it turns red, it would magically stop the other guy from coming. You know, that's the way these people are about weapons. They like, it's illegal, so if it's illegal, you can't bring it in here. It just blocks the door off, and there's a magical force field that makes it evaporate from your body once it gets here. No. Unfortunately, reality doesn't dictate it as such. I know that this is shocking. This is an absolute shocking thing to the left. They can't even fathom it. They say, how can this possibly happen? How did a knife get in here? It's the same way a fucking gun gets in. Because criminals, this is a huge bit of info. Turn your radio up, listen closely. Criminals do not care whether it's legal or not. They don't care. Because by caring if it's legal, it completely negates the fact that they're a criminal. Surprise, surprise. Holy shit. And think about it, guys. I didn't even go to college to learn that. If I'd have went to college, I probably would have told you that he was culturally misappropriated. That's probably the case. But, I digress. I don't really know. I haven't been there. But this is the disconnect that these people have. They're under the impression that for some reason, if we ban things from good people, that bad people won't have them. And it's like, okay, well, alright, well, last I heard, heroin is illegal. Last I heard, cocaine is illegal. In many places, marijuana is illegal. What's that other shit that turns you into a zombie? Flocka's illegal, okay? All that stuff's illegal, but how the hell is people getting it? Don't they know that it's illegal? Maybe we should put a sign up. That'll stop them. Yeah, put a sign up. Put a sign up. That'll do it. These are the people that are trying to change policies. These are the people that believe that they're actually having rational discussions. When I hear these people talking, I pretty much just want to pull out my pocket, tell them to hold my pocket, and walk them over, like the little bitch they are, walk them over to the fucking kiddie table, tell them to sit down, play with your fucking Legos, here's a coloring book, if you do manage to build something that doesn't fall over, here's a coloring book, color me a fucking picture while the adults sit over here and talk. That's what these people need. Because, let's be honest, I mean, I'm all for open dialogue, but there comes a time where it's like, why am I even having this conversation with people? You know, it's the same thing we run into with internet trolls, man. After a while, it's like, why am I even having this conversation with these people? There's no conversation to be had. Holy shit, it drives me absolutely fucking mad. It's the same thing, you guys have probably seen it by now, that I posted with the cover to the, what was it? The magazine that said the triumph of the beta male, right? And it had, ironically enough, I'm pretty sure they were of the male species, 4 males standing pretty much dick to ass with their hand in each other's pocket. And, you know, and it was like the triumph of the beta male. And, you know, it was interesting because that's from the TV show. And I had somebody believing that they were highly educated attempt to educate me on this. And another internet troll thing. I don't talk enough about my internet trolls because I don't like to give them a lot of power, but since we're already kind of talking about trolls, I figured this would be a nice little segue into that, right? You know how I like segues. So, this is from the comedy show. I've never watched it. I didn't even realize it until afterwards, after I'd actually looked up to see what they were talking about initially when I posted the article. But it's from the comedy show Silicon Valley, right? Never watched it. Didn't even know the show existed till I posted the picture, and I was like, what the fuck is this Silicon Valley thing? So, you know, these guys are comedians and yada, 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 and this guy informed me that, that show's hilarious, blah, 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 and first off, they said that I sounded like how did they word it? This sounds like the writings of a psychopath. This sounds like the writings of a psychopath who is trying to start some sort of class warfare. I think that was paraphrased what they were talking about. And I thought it was funny because it's like, I'm not trying to start class warfare, my friend. Class warfare has already started. I'm at war with the rising of the tide. And if you don't know what that is, you're probably on the other side of the fucking battle line. If you're not educated enough to see the long game here, let me do a little bit to explain it for you. So they say, it's not a big deal. It's just a TV show. Just a TV show is probably one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make. It's just a TV show. It's just a magazine cover. It's just a speech. It's just a, it's just a whatever. I hear this all the time with a lot of people. What they fail to understand is that cultures are always driven by the entertainment world. Whenever they want to start making a change to culture, whenever they want to start making changes to support a certain ideology, it always starts with the entertainment world. Always starts. Look at the hippie movement. When that thing rose up in the fucking 60s, look at the music. Right? Look at the people that were put on a pedestal as those who we should follow. Go back to the beginnings of the gangster rap culture. Before that started off, when you had music. You had music that was... I remember hearing Steve Harvey talk about this. He's like, people don't sing about love anymore. Back in the old days of the Kings of Comedy. He said, music used to be about something. It was about feeling in love. It was about being strong. It was about getting out and doing something. Now it's all about fucking slap that ass bitch, get that money, yeah, ho. Right? The whole gangster rap fucking culture erupted, and what happened to the black community? And this didn't just fucking Odinson talk about it. I've listened to guys like Steve Harvey and some of the old school guys talk about it as well. It's clear for anybody to see. And, going back to the 90s as well, the grunge movement. When the grunge movement was out, fucking Nirvana and all that shit. Every kid was fucking wearing t-shirts tied around their waist with, jeans with holes in them. Fuck, I did. We are driven by our entertainment. The characters that are put before us as those that we should follow, say like in the movies and the TV and stuff. Culture follows the entertainment. It's a fucking fact. It's not any sort... There's no debate to be had here. It is a fact. And you don't have to do a bunch of research and everything. If you want to have at it, just go back and watch your entertainment. Watch how it's changed over the years and look how people are now. You will see clear correlations between the two. So when people tell me, oh, this is just a TV show, okay, fine. I'll even concede, even though they're obviously trying to put forth an image on there, I will even concede that it's just a TV show. But what is the object of that TV show? The characters that you are supposed to relate to, the characters that you are supposed to look up to, that you're supposed to create an emotional connection to, which, let's be honest, that's what TV shows do. They get you emotionally invested in a character, right? They want you to become invested in that character, start noticing that character doing things that you wish you could do. I don't know, maybe say get the hot girl. Or everybody thinks he's funny. You think he's funny. Everybody thinks he's funny, so you will start to emulate that. A classic example that I use for everybody is the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory is one of the biggest cultural shaping tools that's on our television set right now. It is. It is, you have 4 nerds that they're weak in every way except their brains. Nothing wrong with that. But now, and I talk about physically weak, but they're also weak on a lot of other levels as well. They're weak on a level of they're striving to follow a path of strength. If you're a weak person that's just not strong, that's not really the definition of weakness. But they're not remotely in the pursuit of strength. But you see these guys, everybody thinks they're funny. They're wearing their little, it started out they were wearing their little Superman underwear and their Superman pajamas. Go to like a Walmart or something right now, and look around there in Walmart and tell me what kind of clothes you see in the men's section. Do you see comic book clothes? Do you see fucking onesies with comic book superheroes on them? Can you find underwear for men with superheroes on them? Yes, you can. And you see these lovable nerds, what do? Through their lack of pursuit of strength, through only using their brains, through their ability to be funny, their ability to be weak is glorified because it allows them to get the pretty girl. They always get the pretty girl. Always. You think that's an accident? You think that was accidentally done. We say to ourselves, why in the world are kids embracing weakness? Why in the world are kids interested in being weak, sniveling little nerds? That's why. And no, they don't have to be some fucking meathead. I'm not asking you to grow up to be some meathead that just, me lift weight, me strong. That's not what I'm fucking asking you to do. What I'm saying is, don't let your perception of reality be skewed by the people that are in charge of our entertainment. If you listen to the episode last week on Chess versus Go, you will see what I'm talking about. Because the people that are in charge of your entertainment world are the very people who are out there pushing these communist ideologies. They're looking to change things here. This is a very sophisticated system that I think a lot of people don't understand. I need to do a really big breakdown. I've done a show a long time ago on this where I touched on it, but I need to talk to people about the use of advertising by that was documented in the documentary Century of the Self. Talked about Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays understood back in the early 1900s that this is how you sell shit to people. You get the entertainment people to push an ideology. They push it to the public, and the public starts biting it. That is how the game is played. Edward Bernays taught people how to buy shit that they didn't need only because the celebrities were telling them to do it. And I'm sure right now you're like, oh, no celebrities telling me what to do. Is that the case, or do you have some cult of personality that's pushing an ideology on you? Do you? You might want to think about that. Are your choices really yours, or are you allowing other people to decide what you do? A lot of people aren't ready to talk about that. Because, I've got books here. I'm looking here on my shelf here. I've got books on propaganda. Probably one of the best books on propaganda ever written. Propaganda, The Formation of Men's Attitudes by Jacques Ellul. That's how you say it. It's an older book, but man, it is really good. I also have, I don't know where it's at. Oh yeah, here it is. I also have the book that Edward Bernays used. It was Sigmund Freud's General Introduction to Psychoanalysis. Those are two of the best books on learning about propaganda that you could possibly have. I remember reading through these books. I need to read through them again because, the writings, especially this one book, is the Propaganda, the Formation of Men's Attitudes. I just flipped it open here while I was talking, and this is probably going to trigger some people right at the end of the show. So already got you listening this far, but I got this actually highlighted in here. It says, finally, the less educated and informed the people to whom propaganda of agitation is addressed, the easier it is to make such propaganda. That is why it is particularly suited to those among the so-called lower classes. So, you see this. Let's see here. In all cases, propaganda of agitation tries to stretch energies to the utmost, obtain substantial sacrifice, and induce the individual to bear heavy ordeals. It takes him out of everyday life, his normal framework, and plunges him into euphemism and adventure. It opens to him hitherto unsuspected possibilities and suggests extraordinary goals that nevertheless seem to him completely within reach. Propaganda of agitation succeeds each time it designates someone as the source of all misery, provided that he is not too powerful. And you go right back, right there to what we're seeing with the NRA. I mean, these are the books that occupy my bookshelf. Okay, of course I got books on how to fucking, strangle somebody's head off their body, but I have these books too. So I'm the educated barbarian. Okay. Instead of the, my goal is not to be the Incredible Hulk, my goal is to be the credible Hulk, okay? But, a lot of people don't understand how that the game is played from a propaganda standpoint. The propaganda game is massive and it's huge, and it's designed to shape and move people towards that final end goal. And that is what we're seeing here. That's what we're seeing with the triumph of the beta male. Because people like that show. It's great. People like The Big Bang Theory. It's great. You will start to see people emulate that. Look at this may hurt you, or maybe you do it already. Look at the 4 characters in The Big Bang Theory. Then I want you to go to a mall at a time when there's teenagers out there and tell me how many of them fit that particular image. Let me know how that turns out for you. Let me know if you don't see something that needs to change. This is the fight we're in. This is why, it's important for me to push things like Odinson archery, right? So I'm getting kids unhooked from this bullshit, and I got them learning what it's like to kill something with an arrow. That's why it's important, and why I take on sponsors of people like Aaron Cable, so I can get them in there, so I can get these kids. I'm like, go to this person. This person will teach you how to fucking get ready to fight. They will teach you what it's like to be strong. Most parents, man, they're not ready for that. They're not ready for that, but that's where we need to change things. We need to teach the kids that it is important to strive towards this goal. Because let me tell you, if you're not willing to start doing the shaping outside your walls, there are plenty of entities, there are plenty of ideologies, and there are plenty of fucking communists that are out there willing, ready, and able to shape those ideologies for you. I guarantee you. We've got to start putting the work in now, folks. We've got to start putting the work in. Oh, man. Wow, what a crazy show. I went all... I think I kind of stayed in a line, but, started one place and went the next. So, I think it's... we touched on a lot of good subjects here, man. When I started the thing, I was talking about the concept of internet trolls. And, it all comes to a huge segue, man. It all goes full circle. The internet troll is a byproduct of a cultural tool that has been pushed and used by the system.
My name is S.M. Gibson.